Hello and welcome to Out of Spec Reviews. Today we're going to be looking at the brand new Lexus LC500 Convertible. Look at how stunning this thing is. It's absolutely amazing. Can't wait to show you around the car. Car, watch this. Look at that. So easy. You can just do it all day long. The exhaust noise. This thing sounds incredible. Take a listen. Now let's check the spec and go through how this thing's optioned. Now the 2021 LC500 only comes with one engine variant, which is the 5-liter screaming V8 that you heard at the beginning of this video. It is incredible. You can also get the LC500H in the coupe, the hardtop version of this car, but honestly, you really don't want that. This is the engine to get in this car. So that's $101,000 base price. This one has, of course, quite a few options, from the wheels to the interior color to the Torsen limited slip diff and Yamaha dampers. All of these things add up, including a $5,700 touring package, to just about 110 grand and slightly over after you go into shipping and handling. So $110,000 for a brand new Lexus that looks this good, that sounds this good. It's really, I think, quite a reasonable price for this car. Nothing to complain about. It's priced right, but man, it's just the best to drive. I really think this is such a special car because it's almost as if Lexus just didn't drive any of the competition, took their own path. This is their interpretation of a luxury sports coupe, and it's really good. It looks great, cruises really nice, and then sounds bonkers when you put your foot down. Absolutely love it, and the price is right. Let me take you around the LC500 and just show you a few things that I find notable. Up front, you have their kind of swoopy grille. It doesn't really look that amazing from the front head-on angle, but step over here with me and look at it from this angle, especially with the wheels turned. Looks great. It has a staggered wheel setup, and something you'll notice in the driving portion is that it tends to understeer into corners, which is safe. It's cured by a big power application to get those rear wheels to spin up. But some of this minor sculpting, these crease lines in the hood, really nice. The headlights are extremely bright at night and very functional. Coming around the side, these side view mirrors are absolutely beautiful, totally sculpted and quite large. Has integrated blind spot monitoring, and one of the coolest things about this car are the door handles. You just push in here and that opens them up, and then when they're done they fold back in. This is where the convertible top goes. Under here it all folds and moves around. It's really kind of cool to watch its operation, and it's fairly fast. You can do it up to, I believe, 32 miles per hour is what I was able to get it up to. Now the back of the car is what I really like. These taillights, especially at night, have sort of this infinity double mirror effect where the lights just continue all the way in. Turn signals down this way, so there's almost no wasted space, which is nice. And of course your dual exhausts that just sound really good. This is your trunk release here. It took me a little while to figure that one out. And in here you have a small but sizable trunk. We were able to put all of our camera equipment in here for filming, an extra little wind guard, and it's just a nice normal trunk, but nothing too functional. Perfect for a weekend getaway. And that's that. It just looks so good. I mean, did you really need to know anything more other than seeing it and hearing it? That's just the whole point of this car. Time to test the LC500's acceleration. So it's a little wet out here, and I think we might be slightly traction limited. I wish we had a totally dry surface. Let's line up here. Settings wise, we're gonna go Sport Plus. I'm gonna leave it in drive. Even in manual mode, it auto upshifts 1-2 when you hit the rev limiter of 7,300. When you hit the rev limiter in second though, oh, it sounds so good. Anyway, let's do a nice wide open run. Yep, you can brake boost it, but it would just spin the tires. Nice hard shift into second. Oh yeah, I forgot, I'm in auto. It's gonna do it anyway. There we go. Not staggeringly fast, it just is the most crazy noise, and that's what makes it feel really, really fast and stout. So acceleration is more than adequate. It definitely will scare some people, and but it's not like oh my gosh, it's really, really fast. All right, let's do acceleration one last time, and then we will check the braking system, see how ABS performs under heavy load. So wide open, a little bit of tire spinning, traction control the whole way through first there. That part of the track is a little less grippy. All right, 110, full brakes. So traction control lights up whenever ABS is there, and we have stopped. Takes a while in the rain, of course. It's not the most short stopping distance. I think all Toyota products do that. They flash the traction control light when you do heavy braking, which is just so funny. But the interesting thing I noticed here was there was no ABS feel in the brake pedal itself. It was just stand on the brakes and it figures it out. It's probably a brake-by-wire system. I have no complaints about the braking modulation. I can really control it nicely. And I'd say braking power is more than adequate for how this car will be used. It's probably over-braked, which is a good thing. Now it's time to see how the LC500 drives. So let's put it in comfort normal mode. There's so many driving modes. You have Eco, Comfort, Custom, Normal, Sport, and Sport Plus. I don't even know how you would choose. I have just been driving in Comfort or Sport Plus. So we're gonna put it in normal right now and just drive around. And the first thing that I notice about this car is that it's extremely quiet. And I mean that with the roof up or down. So I had a 85, 80 mile an hour Bluetooth call with the roof down, and they could hear me perfectly and I could hear them perfectly. When you're cruising down the highway with the roof down and the windows up, it is dead silent in here. It's really freaky how good it is. And then with the roof up, it is the quietest convertible I have ever been in. This roof's definitely got multiple layers. It's just as quiet as I would imagine the coupe to be, and I think that's pretty good. Now, in terms of suspension comfort, it is a lot more comfortable than I thought the car would be. Certainly having these Yamaha dampers helps because they're adjustable based on driving mode. So you can dial this back into comfort, and the car's rolly and squishy, and it squats under acceleration, which is really cool. And then when you dial it up into Sport Plus, it doesn't turn into a hardcore racer, but it just makes it nice to kind of push on a back road. So I would say the suspension setup is way more on the comfort side. It's not a track car per se, but for just cruising around town, it's lovely. And the cool thing is you can set up this custom mode like I have here. So here I can put the engine and exhaust in the power setting so you get the noise, which is really nice. So you can kind of hit it coming out of these corners. The transmission cracks the shifts, but I've kept the suspension in comfort. And so it's nice to have that adjustability. Listen to that thing just scream. But yeah, it's fun to watch it roll around these corners, and we're not really pushing it hard at all around here. We're just cruising normally. It's really fun. Now, if you dial it up into Sport Plus, which is the highest setting, and manual, the shifts get even quicker. and they sound even better. So now you can go wide open. Listen to that, just bam, smacks the gears, no interruption of power, just cracks them off. It is amazing that they have gotten a torque converter transmission to shift this quickly. I will say the transmission's a little lazy when the engine's cold. You don't want to drive it in manual mode. You just drive it super easy for the first few miles. It doesn't blip the downshifts when it's cold, which is smart. It's protecting the car, but a lot of cars will probably be a little bit too aggressive on its hardware when early on, when the engine's warming up. But here, once it's warmed up, it is so sharp. Anything above 3,000 RPM. Down here in the low rev range, kind of gets a little sloppy, and that's just the nature of a torque converter. But up top, they've done a really nice job with tuning. So you're going to ask, how does it drive when you push the car? Well, I will tell you. So now we're in Sport Plus, and we can see a little understeer. So see that front end wanting to go, and I promised Lexus I wouldn't kill the tires on it because it's the only LC500 they have in the media fleet on the East Coast. But maybe we can have one back for a drift day. Because allegedly I had this car sideways around this entire loop once, and it was just full drift monster. That torsion diff locked the rears, and it just the whole way around. It's really impressive. So I'll have to do just one little skid to show you, but I do want to preserve the tires. But when you really get on it, you really start to end up into this understeering situation because of the staggered setup. If this car had a square stance, it would be much better. Love that transmission when you get on it. It's really satisfying. Honestly, I drove it in manual mode almost the entire week that I had it because it's just the best. And the traction control system lets you have some fun without getting involved in Sport Plus. It backs it off. And I'll show you that around this corner. Everything's full on still. Look, I'm gonna get in here, floor it. Look, it lets it rotate. Look at that, rotation with traction control. Now, just to demonstrate what happens if you don't have traction control, just one skid. Lexus, I know you like your tires, but I have to demonstrate how good this thing is. We have to come to a complete stop. You have to hold this in, traction control off, you have to keep holding, and you have to be stopped. Now you get all the other stuff that turns off. And here we go. Just blew the tires off in first. All right, now we're just gonna pitch it in. This is a full muscle drift car. Watch this. Look at that, so easy. You can just do it all day long. Okay, I won't continue, we'll save tires. But look at that, it just loves to go sideways. That's my kind of car. There is nothing better than roof down, hitting the rev limiter in this, and full sideways. That's why I love this car. And speaking of the rev limiter, just listen to this. It's like gunshots going on back there. There's a small war zone behind the car. It's super precise, it's really cool. And Toyota's used this rev limiter on other cars, namely the Avalon TRD and everything they've really been making for a while. But it's just so cool. I love that this has that limiter. It sounds amazing. So, Lexus LC500, it is a comfortable cruiser in town and on the highway. You can just eat up the miles, drive cross country. It's perfect at that. You have 10 gears, so like cruising at 100 is like 2,000 RPM. So this is just under stressed, great fuel economy on the highway. Then you come out to the track on a rainy day and you go full skids. And it loves it. It's the ultimate drift machine. The Lexus engineers are maniacs. What were they doing building this? It is just so uncharacteristically cool for Lexus, and sporty and precise sideways. It's so easy. Oh, it gets me so excited. I love, love, love driving this car, and I never want to give it back. In fact, I will probably own an LC500 at one point in my life because it is just that good. It's like the perfect car to keep at the beach house, you know? When you sort of make it, you have the extra house, you need to leave a car there, you look forward to going and driving your LC500 on the weekends. And there's everything for the LC500. If you think about it on paper, it doesn't really make too much sense. It's not that fast. It doesn't have that much technology. But all you really need to know is just that it looks this good and it sounds even better when you drive it. It is really the noise that makes this an experiential car. It is something I've put a lot of people in during my week with it, and they don't really get it. You just floor it and they're like, wow, this is bonkers. And that's the point of the LC500. It's a supple cruiser, perfect for Naples, Florida. You want to rip it on an on-ramp though and impress your friends. It's really good at that. I could see myself owning one of these in the near future. It just ticks every box that I like.